Winston Maragh. Good afternoon, my brother. How are you?
Hey, good afternoon to you, Reverend, and good afternoon to your listeners and viewers as well.
You're sounding strong, man.
Well, yeah, of course, I'm getting a little better now. Much better, I should say,
Yes.
after that ordeal on Friday.
I must, and for those who are not aware of it, just want to remind you of the ALGAJ meeting last Friday at the hotel there in Mandeville.
Yeah, the Golf Hotel.
Yes, the Gulf Hotel. While you were conducting the annual meeting about to have your election, you can help me and take over from me, because I'm trying to tell it from
Yeah.
memory.
All right. So it's the ALGAJ, we call it, and it's
Yeah.
shortened form for the Association of Local Government Authorities of Jamaica.
Right.
And of course, this is a body, it's like a trade union that represents all the mayors and councillors in the island. So we do have 228 local government divisions. We used to call it parish council divisions. And as well,
220.
right, 228. Plus we have the mayor of Portmore, who is directly elected by the people.
Yes.
So we have a membership of 229, eh?
Right.
And then you have to take into consideration the fact that 2 councillors died recently in Kingston.
Yes, yes.
And one was elevated to being a member of parliament recently as well, Dwayne Smith.
Right.
All right, so we are left with 226, who should have been there at that annual general meeting on Friday.
So tell me what happened. How did it descend? Yes.
Okay, all right. So of course, because of the closeness in numbers for both parties, even though ALGAJ is a non-partisan organization because it represents everybody, right? But because the closeness in numbers, whenever we're having an annual general meeting, both parties would campaign to see put up a candidate there, put up a candidate there.
Yes.
And then both parties would campaign to see who could win or become the president.
Right.
So in this case now, since the last local government elections in February last year, we saw where the difference is about 5. Because what happened is that the JLP would now have 112 divisions, and the PNP would now have 116 plus the mayor of Portmore, so 117 members.
I see.
So it was a matter of campaigning and strategies and so on and so forth.
Yes, yes.
Right. So they had agreed, and they put up. They had agreed on a candidate, from what I understand. Just gleaning from their side, they had agreed on a candidate that they'll be supporting, and then we on the JLP side had also agreed on a candidate. We had decided. Well, I told them I've been the president for the last 7 or so years, and I said, well, I want to give a young man a chance. So I'll make way. And then we decided on Courtney Edwards from the Independent City Division.
Oh, Courtney Edwards, yes. And I spoke to Mr. Barneswell, and he said he was supposed to be the candidate for the People's National Party, although, as you said, it's not a political organization as such.
Right, right. So both sides were campaigning, eh?
Right.
Right. So what happened is that at the ALGAJ office in Maypen, the office is situated in Maypen because the office was set up by Milton Brown in Maypen when he was the president.
Okay.
And so because previous to that, we did not actually have an office to operate from. We used to just operate from the mayor's office, who is the president.
Okay.
Even though the Constitution does not say that the president has to be a mayor.
Right, right.
It can be any member. Right. So since the office is in Maypen, normally both sides would say, all right, so let somebody near to the office get the presidency.
Yes, yes.
All right. So now, the registration was supposed to have started at 9 o'clock, which it did. And so when I got there like about 9:20, and got into the room, and the registration was going on, and looked around. I started meeting councillors on both sides of the fence from all over the place, and so on. And then we told them that the starting time would be 10 o'clock. All right. So we ascertained at first, of course, that we have to have a quorum, and a quorum in this case would be 76.
Okay.
Right.
Did you have a quorum?
Yeah, we did have a quorum.
Oh, so you started. I see.
Yeah. So we had a quorum from 9:45.
Okay.
One of my councillors from St. Catherine said to me, "Oh, I just checked the register and we have a quorum," and that was 9:45. And I said to her, a female councillor, and I said to her, looked at my watch, and I said, "No, we can't start until 10. So that's all right. That's good to know that we have a quorum. So what had happened now is that at about, this is what I'm thinking, what I'm going to tell you now, I think that prompted the whole thing. There's this councillor from Portmore. I think he's a deputy mayor over there. And he came in, he's a PNP, and he came in and he
I was terrified from calling any names though.
Right. So he sat at the back and I heard him shouting. I was standing like in the middle of the room talking to some councillors, and I heard him shouting and him say, "Boy, I just come in and looking around. You know, no matter big time. If I me like when would have rushed the meeting and go straight to the election now." That's what he said. So I don't know what reason he has for saying that.
Yes.
But right away, I'm thinking that look like this guy is supporting the candidate that they are putting up.
Yes.
That's why he said that. I made that comment. So anyway, some councillors from St. Catherine called me and said, "You heard what the guy said a while ago?" I said, "Yes, I heard him. But we still can't start until 10 o'clock. And I told him at the time it was 5 minutes to 10.
Right.
So anyway, we started at 2 minutes past 10. And I had invited him, the Custos of Manchester, to do the program for us, to chair the program for us. But unfortunately, in the morning, he texted me to say that he was calling to King's House, so he'd be sending a senior JP to oversee the proceedings for us.
Right.
So the gentleman came, and the gentleman said to me, "All right, you go ahead and share the thing, and because you're doing good so far, so let me see what's happening." So we called the meeting to order at 2 minutes past 10. And then we offered prayer. We called on a councillor who's also a pastor to offer prayer. And then we went into, the agenda. We did the welcome, and the mayor of Mandeville was supposed to have done the welcome, but he came late. So he wasn't there at the time, so I did the welcome. And then now we moved down the agenda. It says the president's report. Now, the president's report, you'd have to agree it was a long one because it's 7 years since we haven't had a meeting, an annual meeting. Of course, from COVID, it's supposed to be every 2 years. So from COVID, and then after that, we started a number of different reasons why we kept postponing it.
Oh, so COVID got into the way, I see. So to be about 2 3 years, I see.
Right. And then now other factors came into being and we had to keep postponing it.
Yes.
So I told them the president report is in your folder, because we printed everything I give to them. It's in your folder. Everybody got a folder when they register. And I said, it is 12 pages long. Do you want me to go through? I read the entire thing. Then the majority of the people in the room now shouted, "We take it as read. We have glanced through it. And we don't have any questions, so move on." That's what they said.
Well, that's how that is done nowadays, because gone are the days when people, councillors couldn't read and write. Now you can read and write. So if you give it to them in advance, they should have read it, right?
So I asked the question 3 times. Do you have any questions on the president's report? 3 times, and they all shouted no.
Gone. Yes.
Right. And at that time, I did not hear anybody in the room says, "Hold on, I have a question." At that time. All right. But then afterwards, we moved down the line to the secretary's report. And I did the same thing. Secretary's report is circulated, it's in your folders. Do you have any questions on it? And everybody shouted no. I said, "Did you get a chance to read?" "Yes, we read it, man. Everything is all right."
Everybody, because there might have been a few dissensions. It probably most persons.
Most persons in the room shouted, but nobody said, "Hold on, let me look at it properly." Or hold on, I have a question.
Yes.
Right. And then we moved on to the financial report now. So the financial report now, I remembered when I entered the room, the general secretary, who also acts as the treasurer, because our treasurer is no longer a councillor. I didn't run our last seat, or he's from St. James.
Yes.
So the general secretary now, who is a man who he retired from the Clarendon Municipal Corporation as the chief financial officer when he retired.
Yes.
So he knows about accounting. All right. But when I got into the room at about 9:20, I told you, I saw him speaking to Councillor Barswell. So they were both sitting at the front, at the front row. And he was going through the financial reports with him.
Yes.
And he told me after that, he told Mr. Barswell that I'm only going to present the last year one this time around because the others would have been approved and vetted by the executive meetings. And Councillor Barswell agreed with him. All right. So the people said, well, we have read through it. We have read through them, and we have no questions. And I asked 3 times again, any questions?
We're anxious to elect the president.
Yes.
Yes.
So the next item on the agenda now would have been the election of officers. Now, this is where we started seeing hands going up and they say they have questions. And so Councillor Bars was the first one to say, hold on, I have a question. So I say, oh, you have a question? Yeah. Okay, on which report? And he said, on the president's report. So I said to him, but you didn't hear me ask 3 times? Were you not in the room? Mm-hmm. I asked 3 times. Anybody have any questions on all the 3 reports that were tabled? Now listen to me, Councillor. I would suggest that you wait. We are down to election of officers on the agenda. I would suggest that you wait until we have completed the election. We are here. Mr. Samuels is here. Myself is here. We're not going anywhere. We are ready to take and willing to take any amount of questions you have. But since we are at the item says election of officers, you did not ask at the time. Let's do this first and then we take the questions. Then I realized that all his supporters started coming up and they moved towards the front of the platform where we were.
But wait, the front of the platform, are you still standing there?
Right, yeah, I was standing.
So hold on, you had security and everything. Listen, let me take a break because this is getting more and more exciting. Let's get a musical break and come back. This is What a Thing. My special guest is Mr. Winston Maragh, and he's giving us an overview and for his point of view as to what happened at that annual conference of ALGAJ last week, Friday, in Mandeville. And he was just telling us that he was about to conduct the elections for a new executive when he saw councillors started to approach the front of where he was standing. So what happened after that, Mr. Maragh? I think you're still muted, Mr. Maragh. Real pity, Mr. Maragh is still muted. So he is still muted. Mr. Maragh, you are muted. Can you turn your mic back on? Okay, let me see. Are you on now?
Are you hearing me?
Right. Yes, we don't have Mr. Winston Maragh, the president of ALGAJ. He has just left off. He was telling us he is about now to have the elections for the executive, and certain members of the organization started to move closer to the head table or right where he was. So yeah. You'll take off from there, Mr. Maragh.
All right, good. So you're hearing me clearly now, eh?
Yes.
All right, good. So so I recognize them as being PNP councillors, right? And they all stood up in front of the platform and they all shouted that they have questions, and we can rush into the elections like that without answering the questions and that sort of thing. So they find all kind of things to come with now to say that why to trying to stall the elections. However, the councillors on the other side of the room, which are the JLP side of the room, because we're sitting on both sides, eh?
Yes.
And the councillors on the JLP side of the room shouted and said, we have passed questions, we have passed the reports, and we are going to move for the suspension of the standing orders now to go straight into the election, meaning that I shall not answer any more questions.
What question then? Was the election on the agenda?
Yes, it was on the agenda.
So if it was on the agenda, there'd be no need to move for
right, and I told them that we don't need to suspend the standing orders.
Right.
But anyway, they were trying to prevent me, I believe, from answering the questions.
Yes.
I think that's what they were doing.
Okay.
Because since we had taken the decision that we'd answer the questions after. So anyway, they moved for the suspension of starting now. That was seconded. And they all shouted, all in favor, aye. And so I said, okay, good. So let us move now to the election of officers. And I'm going to take nominations. So a JLP councillor moved to me and he took the microphone from me. It was only about one microphone we had. And he took the microphone from me and he nominated Courtney Edwards. And it was seconded by a shout on the crowd. And then the crowd started making noise on that side. Now, trying to counter what the other guys were doing. Now, the other guys kept making noise and moving around and stopping it and saying that and all that sort of thing. Then, lo and behold, I saw the female councillor from the Maypen West, which, of course, is a person I've known ever since she came here.
Don't get into any details. Just say
no.
a councillor.
Right. And then and she just ran up to me and she wrenched the mic from my hand. It was in my left hand. And in the process of doing so, of wrenching the mic over, the microphone, you know, the head of the microphone is all gripped, wired. So it bruised off the back of the head and something, I don't know if it's on the mic, that dug out a piece of the skin. So I
female councillor, Mr. Maragh, may you have it wrong?
Yes,
I'll be telling the truth.
Female councillor, yes. And so I felt the burning, but I was looking at it, you know? And then it was one of the councillors said to me, but you're injured. President, you're injured, your hand is bleeding. So when I looked at it, I said, hey, what is this? And then they all shouted that they wanted to adjourn the meeting because the meeting has descended into chaos. And the Constitution says that if that happens, you need to adjourn the meeting and to identify the people who caused it and suspend them. That's what the Constitution says. So they all shouted that the meeting be adjourned. And then I left to go to the doctors to have it looked at to see what happened because it was metal and all of that. And
there's tetanus that you can't treat it lightly at all. But has anybody expressed any form of remorse? Anybody expressed sorrow about what happened about Mr. Barneswell and the other persons?
No, the female councillor that did it, she came and she told me that she was really sorry. She didn't intend to hurt, but she was just trying to take the microphone from me. Of course, they're all in the interest of preventing me from shouting the nomination.
I'm glad that she has done that. But at the same time, what she has done really is to have said to the world that she does not understand the parliamentary democracy. And she has to learn it because if you're going to continue as a councillor, can you imagine one day you become the mayor and you're speaking and a councillor's walk up and take away the mic from you? So I hope that, you know, it's good to know that she has actually apologized. And by the way, did you take action in terms of reporting the matter to the police?
No, I didn't really. But the police came. I don't know who called the police, but the police were there within 5 minutes. They were there. With less than 5 minutes, the police were there. Yes.
Were they aware that you're having a meeting, the police?
Yeah. Well, they were aware, yes.
Right. So next time you make sure that you probably need to have some of them there in the meeting.
Right. Yeah, because I would have asked the customers to inform them for me because since he's there, he knows them and all that.
Yes.
So he did.
I was going to give you a chance and tell you I know them too. It's all right.
I know you know a lot of people, right? I know you know a lot of people all over. Yeah, but I mean, this organization is 105 years old this year. And of course, I'm not sure what used to happen before my time, but I've been a member. I've been a member for the last 35 years. And I've never heard of anything like this happening.
It's an embarrassment of the highest order.
Yes.
The question I'm going to ask, will an inquiry be carried out? Who will carry it out? And for those who are involved who are attached to a political party, will action be taken against them? Will they be suspended? Because if they get away with that, then all right, you know, next time we go anywhere, just box everything and get away with it.
Yeah, right. Well, put it this way, it's the executive body that will make that decision.
Yes.
And the executive normally meets on the last Monday of each month. So we're looking forward to that meeting, and then the decisions will be taken from there as to what we do next.
What should happen, you know, something like that? persons who did that, they should just probably resign, especially you person who physically attacked. In other countries, you become a big scandal and you simply step aside. It's just bad, it's awful, it's disgusting. Can you imagine? And I'm sorry, they're going to regard me as sexist. And I assume you're telling me the truth, but I must tell you, I spoke to Mr. Barneswell. He didn't give me all the details, but he told me enough. So feel free, anybody want to call me and let me know what's happening, I'm willing to listen. But what I've heard so far, it doesn't sound good. It's nasty.
No, and then again, to know that we spent so much money, because we drove to Mandeville, we looked at the place, we paid a down payment. In all, it cost over $1.5 million to have that annual general meeting.
Hold on. No, I'm going to tell you that you are not speaking the truth now. The first time I'm hearing this, over 1.8 million?
Yes, I'm telling you.
Those persons who disrupted the meeting, they should be made to pay for it.
Oh, well.
This is unbelievable. So you have money to have another meeting, 1.8 million? Well, you only can make your final points. Just make your final points.
I don't know what it is. I'm saying to you, I saw a report that it could have been a press release or something sent out by Councillor Barneswell. And a section of it said, 2 sections said that next time we move to use the ALGAJ to do the election of officers and not the Social Development Commission because they don't have the capacity. But can I tell you this, Vernon?
Yes.
We had engaged the Electoral Office of Jamaica. Councillor Barneswell and his people were aware that we engaged the Electoral Office of Jamaica to do the elections.
Yes.
We asked them to submit the names of the people who will be vying for these positions. It's the president and 3 vice presidents, so that we could put them on the ballot. Councillor Barneswell was the man who called me a week before the elections to say that we are going to have problems. Those are the words he said. We are going to have trouble in Mandeville next week, Friday. So I said, what kind of trouble we're going to have? And he said to me, there's a gentleman who's planning, there's a councillor who's planning to nominate from the floor. So the printed ballots won't work. That's what he said to me. And he said to me, please to disengage ALGAJ and ask the SDC office to oversee the election of officers.
Right.
No, I'm hearing him saying something else.
Have to go now. Well, he will need to answer to that one because that's a very serious matter. So I'll be making contact with him. So I have to leave now. Sorry that at the time.
I know you have to leave, but then I didn't tell you about the ballot box that was stolen by the councillor who's a pastor.
Mr. I will have to have your head examined, sir. You probably need to see a psychiatrist because what you said a while ago just cannot be true.
Whilst I was doing the president's report and going through the normal procedures, I didn't know that Mr. Barneswell instructed the councillor.
Oh, let's not go there because what it needs to be called, but that is shocking bit of news, sir.
That is exactly what the people told me at the back of the room.
Yes, but we have to be careful what we hear to, but we need to.
Okay.
You have to investigate that matter because that is very serious. Have to go. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Councillor Winston Maragh, have a good day. Great hearing from you. All right, that was Councillor Winston Maragh, the president of ALGAJ.